What's up, folks? Welcome to Nino's Corner. I'm with Marc Beckman, and he's the author of the book Some Future Day, How AI is Going to Change Everything. And I think it's already happening. I see what's happening now, and I see the direction we're going. I'm really paying close attention to Elon, just saying. Marc, thank you so much for joining me.
It's so good to see you. I'm so happy to be with you today. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm juggling a lot. My audience knows I'm juggling a lot. But I'm excited about this podcast, man. I've been excited. I've been thinking about this podcast all day long because I feel like all these wars that are kicking off in the Middle East and with China and with Russia is nothing compared to what's coming in the future with AI. I'm sorry, I can't help but think it's going to be a dystopian nightmare. And I know it's going to be depending on who controls it, but man, once it falls into the wrong hands, I just don't see how this is a good situation for humanity.
Well, look, I'm a tech optimist. I believe that artificial intelligence will radically change society for the better within 3 to 5 years. I think it's going to improve people's careers. It's going to improve their family lives, and it's going to improve their communities for the better. But I totally agree with you, Nino. If it gets into the hands of a bad actor, just same thing with a gun. A gun doesn't kill people. People pull the trigger. Think of AI as a tool. If that tool gets in the hand of a bad actor, it could be catastrophic for sure.
Okay, so let's say like China, right? They think they have the model for the entire world, the globalist agenda, the whole thing, what we're fighting against right now, right? They want their AI to be in control. I guess Trump and Elon want their AI to be in control. I mean, that's how I'm seeing this play out. This is going to be a battle of what? Are we going to see robots on the battlefield fighting drones? I mean, this is crazy. Like this looks like this is the trajectory we're going in.
So let's start where you started with regards to America versus China, because this is a theme that I spin up in the book extensively. There is a global AI war, and
Shadow war, right?
it's a real war. I'm telling
Okay.
you, it's a fight for democracy. It's a fight for the truth. And I'll give you an example as to how China is already spinning history and spinning the truth. DeepSeek is an AI platform created by China. It was launched in America on a weekend, and literally, like every other American that you could imagine chasing the shiny silver object without doing the research, this thing shot up to number one on the Apple App Store. 2 million Americans downloaded it instantly. Now, if you go on DeepSeek, remember, China created it, so they trained it with a philosophy that's Chinese. If you ask it about the Uyghurs, it says there's no slavery. If you ask it about Tiananmen Square, it never happened. If you ask it about Xi Jinping, it's also holding him out in just the best of light. So now what happens if those 2 million Americans start to use DeepSeek to teach their children, to do reports, to create administrative capabilities, including bill writing and beyond? It's always going to be biased with a slant favoring China. It's an issue.
Is this what it is right here?
That's it. Exactly.
I'm scared to even hit the continue button.
Well, you should be scared, because here's the other thing that those 2 million people didn't look out for. In the user terms, it says that all of the data that you upload is stored on servers in China. So, David, when the data is stored in a server in China, the Chinese government legally can access it. So think about
Wow.
all of these CEOs or innovative people. You want to upload your driver's license, you want to upload your business model, proprietary information for your business or your career. The Chinese could access it legally. How many people read the terms and conditions when they download an app? None. It's an issue.
Nobody does. Yeah, you just scroll down and say, hey, yeah, just get this over with, and then bing, I agree, and then you go, and then it's a go. So you're saying if I go right here and click this, bad news.
It's, well, you got to go further,
Risky.
but yeah, it's
No,
problematic
I
for
bet
sure.
you it's even if you just I'm not gonna even mess with it. I just wanted to show people what it was. But yeah, I mean, so I read a book by I think it's Noah Harari, right, of Homo Deus, about the transhumanism agenda, about how he feels like that's the natural evolution, which I completely disagree with. I don't think we should be tampering with God's creation. I think, some improvements, like I have plates in my hand, I have plates in my back. I mean, medical advancements I'm all for, but when you start tampering with certain things, I think it's dangerous waters. How do you feel about that? Like,
So we're already, you mentioned Elon. We're already playing with chips in brains. Elon's company that's doing that is called Neuralink. And I had an interview, it's in the book. I had an interview with doctors here in the New York City area who have used embedded chips into patients who are paralyzed. And guess what? They used artificial intelligence to bypass the area in the brain that isn't sending the signals. And now those patients move and they feel. And it's all on my YouTube channel. If you go into my YouTube channel, also called Some Future Day, you could watch the interview and you can also see the patients moving. It's remarkable. So people are using devices for these different purposes. For example, you're talking about plates
and
in
hold
your
on, I just
body.
want to bring this to everyone's attention. Look at you with Melania Trump right here, folks. Go follow his channel. Here it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's that was
Impressive.
an
Very
amazing
impressed,
interview.
man.
Melania, thank you so much. Yeah, Melania was amazing in it. You would like it a lot, David. She talks about her favorite music, including Pink Floyd and other issues that she
Wow.
never spoke to anyone. This is the only interview that she sat down for in this capacity. I'm the only one, so definitely check it out.
That's amazing. And I have something in common with her. I love Pink Floyd.
Ah, there you
I
go.
love Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. She
so
talks about it.
so I've seen or I've heard like, and we're going to get into all of this. So we're talking about the Neuralink right now and the advancements that the direction we're going. I mean, I'm already seeing that men are having these AI girlfriends or like robots. They don't argue, they do the dishes, they do the cleaning, but I'm hearing that we're on the verge of being able to get them pregnant. They carry your baby. This is insanity to me.
It's a
Insane.
little,
It's just,
it's a, it's a little insane for sure. I think the idea of having a robot that is trained with artificial intelligence and having a personal relationship, although it sounds bizarre and straight out of science fiction, it's more feasible and realistic than you realize. Our generation, or maybe I'm a little older than you, for our generation, it sounds bonkers. But for the next generation, think about it. Young millennials, Gen Z, they're always using devices for
but what's that
everything,
going to
whether
do with
it's
human connection?
that's a great question. I talk about it in the book. I always put man over machine. And I think that the human connection is critical, but there are going to be those outcasts in society that prefer to not have, situations where they're pressing the flesh. They only want to speak to AI, speak to robots, interact with non-living but sentient entities, right?
can you see the screen? I'm trying to show you a book here.
Yeah, yeah.
There it
That's
is,
great.
some future day, how AI is going to change everything. I'm sorry, I just have a negative outlook on this, and I just feel like we're becoming our own gods, so to speak, right? I know we're co-creators of the greatest creator, right? I understand that, but it's like when it just does not seem like there's a good outcome in this. It just seems like it's going to be positive for 5, 10 years, 20 years maybe, and then it takes a sharp left turn. And next thing you know, it's Terminator. You know what I mean? It's like then we're there and we're fighting against these things because you get what I'm saying. This just seems like that's just common sense.
I do. So, staying with like the brain and the chip scenario, like Elon Musk's Neuralink, what happens is it's called singularity when like humans and robots become one, when they're fueled with artificial intelligence. And then when you take it a little further, AGI is when the artificial intelligence is behaving in a way that is specifically self-taught, self-learning, and that could be very problematic. It could definitely be an issue. Will we see a scenario where it's like Terminator, where the robots take over? I just don't believe that we're going there. I can't imagine a society where we're overrun by hybrids or by robots too. It's to me, it just seems crazy.
It just Why? I mean, today I would have never believed we'd have these devices where you can see some talk to somebody. I would have never believed Neuralink. People are going to be walking in. I mean, I would understand that that's probably where we're headed, but it's happening now. I mean, look at the people we're up against here. The people like elitists that want, you know, to be giving everybody this and depopulate the whole thing. Like, how can you say that this is not going to go in a bad direction? If I mean, if it falls into the wrong hands, and do you think that we can trust Elon Musk? Do you think we can trust him?
Well, let's talk about the issue. Let's take a step back. The issue is whether or not technology can be used to shape human behavior. The answer is yes, definitely. We're already doing that. This is why I've been very vocal against centralized digital currency. We're seeing entities like China already stand up central bank digital currency, and think about how they can moderate use. You want people to use an electric vehicle? You could use your money. You can only charge your car, though, twice a day. And if you try to charge it more, the government stops you. The government restricts you. Fast forward to the idea of a Neuralink. The idea of embedding a chip in your brain for capitalistic perspective is going to become popular. You get an edge in the ring. You get an edge in the boardroom. People are going to spend money for it. It's worth it, right? If I'm sitting in the boardroom and I could pull up all this information and data and access it instantly, it could be worth billions of dollars to me personally. I'll take the risk. Now, the issue is, will people, bad actors, whether it's Elon or anybody else, like Klaus Schwab, are you fucking kidding me? Excuse my French, but are you fucking kidding me? That guy's not going near me or my family. It's never happening. It's not happening. I don't trust centralized entities. I like decentralized entities. The China AI war that I was talking about earlier, it's an issue. Corporations are also centralized. So a lot of the corporations that are creating these large language models, including Elon Musk's Grok, are being programmed, are being trained in a way that could further their personal agenda, their business agenda, or their view of the world. So yeah, I think it's concerning in a centralized perspective.
What was that movie? Was it called Limitless, where he takes that pill that makes him smarter?
I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's an edge, right? So
Big
Neuralink, I
edge.
can imagine, would work like that, and I'm sure as an athlete, I know there's a lot of athletes out there taking stuff that make him they give them the edge, you know, and it's just what it is. It's just the nature of the beast. So I can see this, I can understand this happening completely. I see it going this direction, but if we're in a race with China, you know, like this shadow war that's happening right now with AI, they're going to want their AI system. We're going to want our AI system. We're going to ultimately clash, right? I mean, are we going to have AI wars? I mean, people won't even go to war anymore. It'll be AI bots and drones fighting. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where I see
So
this going.
yeah, I love it. It's my favorite chapter in the book. What I do is I break down the future of war and I discuss what a post-nuclear war or post-nuclear warfare looks like. And it's fueled by manless weapons. So think in terms of drones and swarms of drones that today can be activated from your living room in Texas with no military training to go on missions anywhere in the world, from Africa and the Middle East to Europe and Asia and beyond. That technology currently exists. In fact, I talk about it in the book. There are other weapons that are coming up that are manless. So think in terms of literally, we're on the verge of it now. Jet fighters without pilots, boats in the Navy without captains. They're all coming. It's there now. What's interesting is a lot of the drone builders talk about the idea of using it to save lives. But I see the vision that you just played out, David. I see this world where entities, robots, and drones and jet fighters are bombing and attacking other manless weapons in a way that is straight out of the movies.
Look at this. It's like, look at these things.
Yep.
I just don't see how this. I see how they can help humanity for a while, right? For a while, but I mean, um, what about when they reach singularity? That's what everyone's talking about? The when
Yeah.
they reach consciousness or a
Yeah.
singularity, what happens then?
Yeah, so effectively, that concept is when the artificial intelligence becomes so advanced that it has reasoning and it has the ability to teach itself how to survive. So effectively, it can wipe out any directions from the human operator, right? So armies of robots, armies of drones can effectively be prioritized to their vision versus the human operator. Do I think that's feasible? It is. In fact, there's a CEO of a drone company who has a contract with the United States Department of Defense that I spoke to recently, and he's starting to sell drones all over the world now. And he's concerned that some of these foreign governments will become bad actors. So he's embedding kill switches into the drones, literally kill switches. I think the idea of security is going to change also. And looking at your robots, the footage that you just pulled up of robots, think about the way like security systems are going to transform. It's going to be easy and affordable to have different types of robots around the perimeter and internally for, important buildings, homes, offices, banks, et cetera. It's totally going to shift. We're going to see a major transformation. And those drones and robots have the ability to attack. So
That's
when
what
you
I'm
get to
saying. I mean, what if
singularity,
they
it's going to
decide
happen.
that humanity is the humanity, like kind of like I feel like we're going against God, our ego. What if they develop that and they decide, you know what, we don't need humans anymore and we want to create our own AI, our own, um, we want to get rid of human beings. I mean, this seems very likely to me. I just don't see how it does not happen.
So, in other words, the evolution of humanity includes a device in our brain that is almost like more advanced than the way you and I are today and wipes us out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this could definitely happen.
Yeah. I think,
I
yeah, I think it's the time maybe, right? Hopefully not. Maybe it's a little sci-fi to me. I don't see it happening. Um, but I understand how you can make the logical connection.
and here's another thing I've been thinking about with Elon, right? I mean, he's sending all these rockets to space, and this guy's like the poster boy. He's like the modern day Iron Man. It's just wild stuff, right? And I'm looking at what's happening right now with Doge, and Doge is cleaning up the government, showing all the wasteful, useless spending and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, huh? Is it going to be, are we going to soon see with 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and everything that's developing as is right now, arrests take place, justice comes in, and we're all proud and we're all happy. We're riding high on the hog. Everyone's riding the white horse and everyone's feeling great about, this person got arrested, that person got arrested. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what, folks? We're going to bring in AI for the government. We can't trust people. They're all compromised. You can't trust human beings. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more efficient to have a government run AI. Oh, and yeah, judges are compromised, the legal system compromised. Let's have an AI legal system. I see this happening.
So, David, what about this idea? What if, again, going back to the concept of centralized versus decentralized? Right now, we have a centralized government. If this group of government officials trains the AI on how to run our lives, I understand that's problematic. But what if we all train the AI on how to govern society so it works better because your point of view is actually executed? My point of view is actually executed. There could be a decentralized way to leverage AI to the betterment of all of society from a governmental managing the government perspective. I mean, who in the government? I'm very anti-government as it is.
Well, I am too.
I not only small government, but I think even small governments fuck up, right?
Yeah, no.
So who in the government, like who is it in the government that would be good? Bernie Sanders? I mean, like
But
there are
this
like
would ultimately lead us into socialism, right? I mean, that's where this would go, socialism, and that would be a quick slide into communism, right?
in
And
my opinion, only if it's centralized. If it's decentralized and everybody's perspective is actually included in the artificial intelligence realm, then it's no longer, you no longer have like um, uh, corporations winning, persuading politicians to vote a particular way. Term limits don't matter. I mean, imagine it's
well,
like
okay, so
literally.
AI is not emotional, it has no sympathy, it just is, right? And it's highly, highly intelligent. You think about like what about like a sympathy jury or a criminal that, I mean, if you go to court, let's say, and it's all handled now, judge and jury by an AI system, gosh, man, you're just gonna get boom what it is. It's just there's no. I mean, does AI doesn't have imagination, right? It doesn't have sympathy, it
Correct.
doesn't have emotion.
Correct. Correct. And the problem is a lot of people think that AI does have emotion and sympathy. And the reality is it doesn't. And this is why I go back to my argument over and over and over again. Man beats machine. Think about this. If you and I want to create like a beautiful song right now that's like revolutionary in spirit, and the whole idea is to like, show what the people on the streets are marching for. Well, we could do that and it could be catchy. We could do that today. The guidelines to create music, it's all in my book. It's so simple. You and I could literally do that right now, but it's not going to connect emotionally the way you would with those people on the street. It's not going to replace Bob Dylan for a revolutionary song
But
ever.
but could it?
Humans will beat machines over and over again.
So you're saying that there will be no competition with these machines. We'll always control it. I'm saying that could they? And I'm asking you, do you believe that it could develop emotion? Could it
No.
develop? No way it can develop
No,
sympathy. That's
it's
that's a soul
algebra. So a
thing,
lot of what
right?
you're thinking, no, it's all algebra. So the way that artificial intelligence works on the generative AI side, you'll hear generative over and over again. Essentially, what it's doing is the algorithm is using algebra to predict the next word in a song, the next word in a memorandum, the next word in an email, the next color on a painting, the next color in a photorealistic image, the next movement in a film. And it's just predicting through algebra. There is no emotion. It will never happen. It's math.
So you see these globalists a lot, and this leads me to this. You see the globalists speaking, "Oh, we're going to be able to live forever. We're going to be able to program avatars with our consciousness. They're going to be able to do that and live forever." That to me sounds like a nightmare. You won't have your soul. I believe there's a soul. Do you believe that? Do you think that people will achieve living forever by putting their consciousness as a program into an avatar that can live forever? I mean, could that already be happening? You clone yourself, maybe your body dies, but you put your consciousness into a clone. So
Yeah, I mean
I know this
that's
sounds really crazy, but maybe not.
no, that's heavy duty stuff. I'll tell you honestly, Nino. I was with a former ambassador, a United States former ambassador, in her apartment here in New York City a few weeks ago, and she's like, "Oh, here's my dog. I cloned it in China. My other dog died, and this is it." I was like, "What do you mean?" And she literally had a replica of her dog that died, and I'm not kidding. She showed me the photos
ET.
to a T. It's the exact dog, and I said, "Does the dog behave the same emotionally?" She said yes. She actually said yes. So I don't think artificial intelligence is the pathway to what you're talking about. I don't believe that. I
So
really
you're
don't.
saying it's in DNA.
I'm telling you that there are people that are so crazy out there that are they're using DNA. It's happening right now, right? She went to China and used this. She used her dog that died, the DNA, to create this new dog that I touched. I interacted with it. She showed me the photos. So if people are willing to do that, they'll do anything, including what you're talking about, figure out a way to save their quote unquote soul and move it through technology. I just don't think it's ever going to be feasible.
I often wonder, like when you look at and you map the genes, right? The human DNA. I often wonder if there's a consciousness gene. If that gene pops up every few generations and you're back here again, you know, and I wonder about that, and I think that could be very probable. But what's your thoughts about that? Do you think there could be a consciousness gene?
I do. I think that's like where the concept of memes come from. Originally, before we had social media, the concept of the scientific definition of a meme was a concept that was passed along with understanding from generation to generation, going back hundreds of years. And that's passed along. It's got to be through genetics. There are certain concepts that were passed along intellectually, generation after generation, through our genetics. So I do believe.
Transgenerational.
And I do believe what you're talking about is accurate, 100%.
So let's go back to Elon Musk for a second because, I'm very confused on this guy because to me, he has a lot of power, man. You know, and for my audience, it's a Christian audience. You know, they'll sit there and say, no way, Neuralink is bad. Even if it's making people walk and talk and do things they've never been able to do before for the first time, hear again, see again, whatever. They're going to still say, no, that's from the devil, that's demonic, that's not from God. What do you have to say to those people? And what do you have to say about, could Elon be the Antichrist? Let's just go in that direction for a second for my audience, for their sake. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. First, I always, regardless of whether I'm talking to you or not, I put humanity first.
Okay.
You have to start with human. I think humanity is precious, and part of the challenge in this day and age for your audience, whether it's an individual, a family, it's how do we disconnect from our devices? It's incredible the amount of time our children are spending, looking at the TV, looking at the laptop, looking at the iPad, looking at the iPhone. It's out of control. And we need to disconnect for humanity. Aren't your best ideas coming to life, David, when you're not connected to a device?
When I wake up in the morning, right when I wake up, boom, I get downloaded with stuff. I'm like, wow, that's what I want to do today. It's when I'm clear.
Right. So now, if you want to talk about religion and people, don't you think best if you're in nature, if you're walking across a field without a device connected, the sky is blanketed with stars? Isn't that a time where your emotions come out, your thoughts come out? That's when you're in touch in so many different ways. But I think that's when humans are most powerful, right?
100%. So
Devices.
you're saying it's possible to coexist with AI.
I'm saying that we need to, as adults, be cautious and treat AI in a way that is sensitive to the fact that our next generation is, in many ways numbing themselves from growth. They're amusing themselves to death. They're doom scrolling on items like TikTok, which are fueled with machine learning algorithms. TikTok all day long. They're poisoning their brains. They need to sharpen their edge. They need to be able to learn the classical studies, how to read, how to write, mathematics, science. This is what's going to propel mankind forward. It's not machines. So I like how machines can benefit society. I believe that we need to accelerate and develop more AI so we could find cures to diseases, create new levels of prosperity, find new ways to create access to food and medicine on a global scale. But I don't think machines should replace or could replace humanity.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. In fact, I'm saying it sounds amazing to coexist with AI, and I don't think we have a choice. It's already here and it's growing,
It's
right?
here for sure.
I just feel like it's ultimately not now, and maybe not in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, but it's going to ultimately go into a bad direction. Then I think back on the Bible, right? Like I said, I have a big Christian audience. I'm Christian. And I think about the mark of the beast. I think about it in the forehead. It sounds like Neuralink to me. And I think about it in the hand, right? The Bible warns us of these things that if you take the mark, you're for sure not getting, and my audience will be like, oh, you're not getting into heaven doing that, right? What do you have to say to that? Do you say take the mark? Does someone take Neuralink if they can't walk, or do they just say, no,
Yeah.
I'm not taking that?
I,
It's the mark. I mean, is it the
I,
mark to you?
I believe in individual liberty. I believe that each individual should decide on their own as to how to behave, right? They need to set their own values, their moral code, and decide how to behave. Now, when you have a situation of desperation because a loved one is in trouble, and for example, that loved one who's just been recently, you know, sideswiped in a car and is paralyzed as a result of it, you might go after technology that is utility based, like AI. You might put a chip in that person's head so they can, go on with their life, so that they could feel your touch again, so that they can move and hold a glass of water again, be self sufficient. Right. So this is where it becomes a little tricky. Do I think that AI is, the devil? I wouldn't say that. I
It's
don't think
whatever
so.
we make it to be, whoever's in charge of it.
Humans create the technology, and we need to, like, the toughest thing, as you know, like, we need to show restraint sometimes. We don't have to be so gluttonous. Like, glutton is the devil. Like, why do we have to be so gluttonous and embrace everything at a million miles per hour?
Right.
If we think that we're going to get into a situation where it becomes disastrous, show some restraint. Everything doesn't have to be like a party in Las Vegas. You could go and take it, but seriously, like,
Yeah.
take a step forward. Use AI to help your loved one. Use AI to do better on, at work, to generate more money so you can, help your family or help your community with access to food. But it doesn't mean that we need to be launching missiles at each other's heads.
Right, but you can't stop crazy. I mean, there's always going to be people here that are psychopaths. I mean, that's a proven thing. Like there's empaths and there's psychopaths. That's just the way the world is ran. And the people that run the world, guess what? They're psychopaths. That's why they jock in position to get into positions of power. That's what they want, right? And those would be ultimately the ones that I think would want to seek AI uh for Luciferian, needs, like to destroy humanity, what's one guy has a Neuralink that makes him walk, the other guy has a Neuralink that makes him, has a bionic
Kill,
hand that can shoot somebody
kill.
or kill.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, are we going to see these biological entities that are like half robot, half human walking around? Is
Yes.
that where we're going to
Yes.
go? Really?
Yes. I think in our generation, in our lifetime, we'll see that. And I have to tell you, honestly, I do believe, to your point, like what you're talking about is humans using AI as a tool for nefarious behavior. That's realistic.
How do we govern
We
that?
do it already. There are bad people in society. You talk about our leadership. People are bonkers at the federal, state, and local level. I live here in New York City. The
Oh,
streets are
geez.
filled with like crime and mentally ill, and it's become political as to like whether or not you should help these people. It's ridiculous. People need help. It's out of control what they're doing here in my city, in New York City, right now. Every morning, I walk past, a corner of Washington Square Park, and there's like a group of like 10 guys that are injecting themselves with needles at like
Yeah.
6 in the morning. It's out of control. You know, people need help. And the truth is that our leaders are not doing a good job right now, and politics aren't always the answer. So going back to like your question about Elon, it's kind of interesting because, on the one hand, he's a great innovator. He's a great business person. He's propelling innovation forward and mankind forward in ways that we've never seen before. But he's also the best marketer ever. He's the best marketer that's ever come to our planet.
Yeah.
And he's
Ever
getting
come
bit
to
a
our
little bit.
planet? That didn't get by me.
Right? But it's true. I mean, I used to argue that Donald Trump was the best marketer of our generation, but maybe it's really Elon.
Oh, it's and them together. Come on, look at this.
It's
Um,
powerful. It's
but I mean,
powerful.
yeah, Elon. I sometimes wonder if he's even from here, but that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
Um, Family. Does AI replace family? That's where it looks like it's going. I mean, and so let me ask you this, and if that's the case, right? Do we trust AI or do we trust God? I mean, because I don't think you can have one or the other. I think for a little while you can coexist, and then you're gonna have to choose.
I think if you're a religious person, you 100% have to trust God.
I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. To me, man,
If you're spiritual, you
yeah,
100% have to trust God
right.
over AI. I mean, to me, it's like literally like algebra versus faith.
Got it.
Faith all day long. That's how I break it down. But the reality is for family. Like, think about this. If you think that family is operating in a deficient way these days, like in my house, we have my wife and I have children, and everybody's running a million miles per hour. We have our jobs, we have our, everybody's got their own things going on. And then, like, when we want to sit down together and spend some time together, we often have to wait for the weekend or wait for a holiday, a vacation together. It's problematic. And a lot of that is because you have all these annoying chores that you got to do all day, right? Like, I got to cook the food. I got to do my laundry. I can't stand that shit. Everybody
Yeah.
hates it. Let's face it. So, what if robots programmed with AI were able to eliminate in your house all of these tasks that you have that take you away from spending time from your loved ones? Good
Yes,
use of AI.
up to that point, yes. But then what about the, and I guess for lonely people to have an AI girlfriend that can get pregnant and have their children, right? That would be I mean, think about that. I know that's coming. They're already
You
talking.
know, in my book, it's like it's crazy. In my book, there's a portion I talked to Suzanne Summers' husband, Alan Hamill.
Chick
Suzanne
that was on Three's
Summers,
Company.
mhm,
Wow. She's still around?
she passed away a year ago.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
She's a friend. She
Wow.
was a friend, and Alan's a very
Wow.
close friend. And I love Alan and Suzanne. And Alan talks about they were best friends. There was no one like them. They were like incredible marriage, incredible family. And he wants a companion, and he wants it to be Suzanne. And he talks about this in my book. He would like to train artificial intelligence to bring her back, to have her sit at the table and talk in a lifelike way. At certain moments, he's not crazy, but just to have the companionship with the person that he loved his entire life. His whole life was dedicated towards this person, and she was very special. Most famous person on the planet during that generation,
Yeah.
right? Like our
100%. I
that
remember her
generation's Kim
every,
Kardashian, right?
yeah. Yeah. I
And
remember
that's
Suzanne Summers. And
yeah,
then she did the Thigh Master.
yeah, yeah. Sold
Yeah,
millions of
I
units.
remember all that.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
exactly. But Alan wants that. Alan wants that.
Does he have faith that he'll see her again?
Yeah. He thinks
You
he
know?
sees her in different ways. Like he and I were talking one day, and he believed this little hummingbird that flew into the house was her shortly after her death. And there were signs
Wow.
that showed why. I actually believe him. There were
I
signs that showed like it did certain things that only Suzanne would have been able to do. And it was like, maybe it was her.
I see. I believe in that. And I'm coming to a point in my life where my heroes, my mom and dad, right? They were always a stable. They were always a constant in my life. And even though I was boxing and fighting and stuff, I always had my dad to call when something was wrong or I didn't feel right or insecure or whatever. And watching them fade away, I'm like, gosh, man, I wish I could just somehow find a way to like, you know, maybe I'll take him to a taxidermist or something, or I'll take it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna
Put
do.
him up on the mantle.
Yeah, like what was that movie where they're in the closet? Like that's like I don't remember, but like I just think of ways like how can I like I just don't want to lose him, and that's my biggest fear, and I know it's coming.
Well, do you have anybody that like has passed away that you've loved and you try to
My
go back
sister,
and listen to like a voicemail of her or something, right?
yeah.
So like but you could separate like, okay, I know that's not her, but I just something makes me feel good when I hear her voice, or you dream about her and it feels real for a minute and then you wake up. We've all had that. And maybe that's what artificial intelligence could tap into, where logically, it's not your dad or your mom, but for a minute, it just feels good to have a
But do you think
conversation.
that's healthy? I mean, do you think
Maybe
that?
for some people, and maybe some people definitely not, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
you keep
you're
going
looking
back
at
and
it
forth.
like for some, it depends on the person. Like what?
Yeah.
I can see that.
You keep going back and forth with it's really interesting.
That's
You're the only person I ever spoke with. I've been interviewed all over the place. The book is sold out on Amazon. It's sold out on Barnes and Noble. But you're the only one that's interviewed me so far, whether it's television, podcast, anything that is like really focused on this man machine juxtaposition. And I want to show you something. We designed the book cover. Check this out. I don't know if you notice. The book
ballerina or
does
what is it?
it's what you're talking about. So it shows a robotic hand as well as three ballerinas, human and robot. You're the only one that's picking up on it. And it's a really cool
So I see the
idea.
human.
Yeah. And you see the robotic hand?
Yeah, I see it, obviously, but I see the human first. I see the beautiful dancer, like three
It
dancers. Yeah.
says a lot about you. So we did this. We designed this. I didn't use a robot. I didn't use AI. This is a human
Wow.
being that
Genius.
I worked with from my ad agency that created the artwork. Humans beat machines all day long. But it's interesting because
Depending on the person's perspective, though.
that issue that you're talking about, human and machine, it's like right here on the cover of my book. And you're the only one out of everybody I spoke with that has had this perspective. You keep going back to like machine versus human, machine and human. It's pretty cool.
Really? Yeah.
Only one. Yeah,
I
it's
just I can't help it. I'm a very spiritual person. I've always been that way. Boxing, everything. I've always went in there through my spirit. You know, it's always what's led me. I think here, not here, which my dad says it might not be the
Yeah.
best thing, but
Think
yeah,
with your head.
yeah. Well, I think with this, you know, and it's gotten me into trouble, but it's also helped me a lot in my life. But okay, you're right, Mark. I really thank you for coming on, and it's on Amazon, folks. It's just amazing. This is a great conversation. I wasn't expecting it to go in so many different directions, but I got a lot out of this talking to you.
Me too. I love talking to you, man.
Yeah,
It's
man. Let's
really
keep in
great.
touch. And if you want to come on again, we'll do some roundtables. I got other people that come on, and this is interesting because this is where we're going.
I
We have no choice. This is it. This is where it's going. Oh, one last question, and this was a big one, and I'm glad I remembered it. I was it the first couple days or the first day when Trump got in, he signed a deal with Oracle, right?
So it's the Stargate project, and it was SoftBank, Oracle, OpenAI, and now another company just popped in. Yes, it was the day after the inauguration. I was there actually.
What is it?
So this is it. It's very important actually, and it's very timely. It's actually a really great question. So what he's realizing is that this goes back to the war with China, the AI war with China. You're really nailing something important right now. You're really intuitive because a lot of people don't talk about this either.
Thank
So
you.
what he's realizing is it's not just about the algorithm, it's about the hardware too. Artificial intelligence requires a ton of compute to make it work. And we can't rely on offshoring this. So these companies came together and they committed $500 billion over a 4-year period, I believe, to build infrastructure within the United States. They're hyperscale data centers that will allow for America to train artificial intelligence as well as to use for referencing and beyond. OpenAI will operate it, but it's a very, very important and aggressive move. The tariff announcements could impact the development of these hyperscale data centers. And finally, a really awesome guy that was in our government, former ambassador John Rakolta from Detroit. He's one of the biggest developers of these hyperscale data centers in the country. He was on my show too. But it's interesting that you're landing on that because it's not enough. We need more of them.
And I'm going to show you the book one last time here for everyone to see because this to me is huge.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, here it is. And yeah, some future day, how AI is going to change everything. How about how far away do you think we are where like let's say it won't even be recognizable life today? Like let's say, you know, you and I obviously pre-internet, post-internet. I remember back 8 tracks, dude. I remember like all that. I remember how fast all this came. CDs, tape CDs. Now here we are, digital and cell phones, and then internet, and then internet changed everything. Where are we right now? If this was like, and you're from your point of view, where are we right now in the scope of AI? In like, how could you compare it to like pre and post internet? Like I remember 1996, 97, how different life was than it is today. Where are we at right now where life is just going to be like, oh, remember life pre-AI? You know what I mean? Are we still in the pre-AI?
We're in this mode right now, short term, where we're going to see big changes on areas that include consumer customization. Think in terms of streamlining tasks at work, customization, where artificial intelligence becomes the underpinning of certain things. So you walk, like think smart home, right? Like Ray Bradbury style. You walk into your home, the temperature is regulated, the food starts cooking for you, the music goes on, the house is even talking to you, and you're like rattling off all these things. Lighting is at a certain ambient level. All that's going to happen really quickly. Like already, AI is infiltrating those parts of our lives. Same thing with regards to cars, autonomous vehicles are on the horizon. Companies like Waymo are already on the streets. Certain cities like mine, New York, won't allow. It's illegal to get in a Waymo in my city. I think maybe in Texas, David, you're good to go. So I think we're going to see that first change with regards to customization. The thing that you're talking towards, robots, the next big change, That's still expensive, and the innovation isn't great yet. It still has a lot to go. So it's going to meet, we're going to need a time period where the cost is pushed down. I don't think we'll see robots in the way that people envision, like human form, all over the place in 10 years from now. But you will see robots like drones and other items like that, autonomous vehicles, et cetera, soon, really soon. But we're at the beginning. We're at the starting gate now. Most people that you talk to don't know how to use AI and are afraid of it, right?
I'm a little, I'm hesitant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not scared of it because I have such a strong belief in my creator and God, but I understand where you're coming from, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just gonna end up not in a good place. That's just my perspective. I just think it's ultimately it'll be good for a while and then it'll be someone that goes bad and it just ends up to be a really bad situation for humanity. I just don't see how
It
this,
could be. It could be.
you
I mean, like
know,
today,
I
literally,
see this like
China.
ruining humanity. I really do.
China is literally using AI today, as I understand, to implement a campaign to against the Taiwanese to split them against America.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's
Right
the
now, today, it's in the news today.
so then this is going to be a struggle, and then it's going to be who wins. And will that type of war, the AI war that I'm going to say it's coming, will ultimately destroy the planet? It'll make nuclear look like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine China and America going at it with AI because
Think about the smaller,
EMPs and blackouts and like, I mean,
go further. Think about like countries right now that can't compete with us because militarily because of our wealth, right? So all of a sudden you get these little fuckers like Yemen
yep.
and they can't compete with our military, but for them they could buy drones quickly and for they're less expensive and they could use drones in a very agile way to attack not only like around Yemen but here in New York and there where
Yeah.
you are in Texas. Like I said, drones could be controlled now overseas. So Lou, you and I could be running a drone with no military training to attack right now in the Middle East and Asia and Europe. They're going to bring it to us.
I
It's
saw a
coming.
video. I saw some video where they're showing like an impulse that could knock drones out of the sky. Like it showed it almost looked like a hive, like a beehive, like like a swarm of drones coming, and this thing just sets off a pulse and knocks them all out of the sky. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the answer.
I I think it's electric. It's
Electric pulse,
electromagnetic,
right? And
right?
it just and they just drop.
Correct. I understand that. And the other thing that we have coming with AI is reversing it. So here in New York City,
Worse.
the amount of cyber attacks coming at New York City's infrastructure is literally into the billions every single day, to the point where the mayor's office had to create a strategic alliance with both the state and the federal government. I'm not kidding. You could research it. It's on my show, actually. I interview the guy from New York City that leads it. And what they're doing is they're trying to protect, because of cyber attacks using AI, our access to clean water. Think about what goes on if our banking system is knocked out, our communication system. And these are all owned by and operated by private entities, our transit systems, all owned and operated by separate entities. If we want to attack China, we're not going to be as good at this type of cyber warfare because China is unified with its defense. The government is defending it. Our government needs to go in and be like, okay, people running the hospitals, okay, organizations running the banking sector, all right, companies running the telecommunications area. Here's what's going on. It's tough. It's going to be tough.
There's something I just thought of something before I let you go. I just thought of something. My dad has a pacemaker, right? And that he's 100% dependent on it. He's been 100% dependent on it for 5 years. That's
Scary.
AI, right? That's a form of AI. That's making his heart beat. And that's no different than a neural link, right?
That's right. That's what I was trying to say to you. So, like the leap of for utility purposes, you're the loved one that encouraged your dad
Right.
to have that pacemaker put in. We walk around with devices that are running now. So, if your loved one needed one for some reason to help neurology, you would do it,
Wow.
and you
Really
wouldn't
putting
say
in
it's the
that
devil.
perspective for me now has changed a lot. Yeah. I mean, I
You wouldn't
guess
say it's the
I'm
devil.
sitting here going against it, and here I am. Here, my dad has a pacemaker. So that makes, yeah. Okay.
So it's not so crazy,
Yeah, it's
right?
not. It's not. I just think there's a fine line that we can
There are
cross.
bad people. There are
Yeah.
fucking bad people out
There's
there.
bad, yeah, there's bad fucking people.
Yeah.
Mark, stay with me for a second. Thank you for joining me, folks. Go to Amazon and get his book. Unbelievable, man. Wow. Thank you so much. All right, stay with me, Mark. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.